Holy golden emperor's balls, they have just released the Forgeworld beta rules and the Codex FAQ. This is going to be a glorious video. Let's jump in and let's get started. So like most of the Custode fanbase, we have been waiting for the Forgeworld stuff since they announced that the Custodes are getting their own book. Me personally, I love some of the Forgeworld designs. I love how the Dreadnoughts look. I love all the Grav tanks, everything like that. Everything that Forgeworld have done Custode-wise has been perfect for me. So getting them over to the new 8th edition and getting them maybe built in my army for 8th edition, let's say, is one of the things I've been most looking forward to with my Custode stuff. As always, link to the article is in the video description. Go and read it, check out, come back to this video, and it'll make more sense. It's all that kind of fun. So let's jump in and let's start with the first sentence, and it says, since the release of Codex Adeptus Custodes, many of you have been asking about getting rules for bringing your favourite models from Forgeworld, of course. Legio Custodes range into the Games Workshop Warhammer 40,000. Today we're happy to confirm that the Adeptus Custodes have been earmarked for their feature in the future volume of Imperial Armour, and what's more, we're making some more experimental, non-final rules, these are non-final rules, from this book available ahead of time to allow you to jump right in, as well as helping us test them out before they're fully released. So that's pretty cool. These rules now are still in test phases, so if I'm going to be having, well, I think I'm going to be having a Codex, a Custode game sometime in the summer, so I'm sure that these are all going to be finalized by then. But if they're not, then this is going to be a good base for me to come in and test it, because the first thing I'm going to do after this article, now after I've rendered this video, is go to Forgeworld and buy all the units which they've already listed in this article. So the vehicles I'm going to be looking at now are just some of the vehicles which are being brought over. It says in the article, if your favourite vehicles aren't here, worry not. This is just a sample of what we'll be eventually releasing in the rules for Warhammer 40,000. So this is just a sample. There may be more. I'm really hoping that the Telemon Dread comes along and the Custode Flyer. They're beautiful, beautiful kits, and I would love to have them in my display cabinet and be able to bring them in a 8th edition battle in Warhammer 40k and just purge as many heretics or Xenos forces as I can. So the first one is the Sacratus Grav tank. That's the one with the two long barrels, or how turrets, or whatever you want to call it. And it is amazing. I actually played with this in the horror session. I actually owned the model some time ago, but I sold it to my friend Mark Ozian, which I'm kind of regretting now. Maybe like I said, I'll probably have to just buy a new one now. The next one is the Sacratus Grav carrier. I absolutely love this tank. This is something I wanted for my custodian army, something I could fit a lot of people in and then just move them across the board, because one of the bad things about the custodian force at the moment is that you don't really have that much maneuverability. I know you have the Land Raider and stuff like that, but it's very expensive. But with the Grav carrier, and we're going to be exploring the rules at the end of the video, this looks like the main option for me now. And of course we have the Dreadnought. We have the Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought. That is the one with the las cannon on its spear, probably my favorite one. I just love like all the posing you can do with this, and it's got a las cannon on a bloody spear. How awesome is that? Right, let's jump in and let's check these rules out, and let's just look at them, because they seem very good. I know, of course, a test rule, so everything can change. If you want to go and check them out for yourself, again, link is in the description. Go and check them out and then come back to this video. It'll make a lot more sense. So here are the point costs. So the point cost for the entire models, Contemptor Achilles, is 160. The Contemptor Exemplar, which is, I forgot to mention this. This is like just a normal Dreadnought chassis, and you can put like flamers and all that kind of stuff on it. The Sacratus Grav tank is 220, and the Sacratus Grav carrier is 285. So this is cheaper than the actual Land Raider in game. So this is what I'm saying, that this seems more of a viable option than the actual Land Raider, which we already have in the Codex as of now. I'm wondering if they're going to put the points up for that, because this already seems a bit too good. So let's start with the Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought. Again, this goes down by how many wounds you take. So if you've got 4 wounds, movement is 9, weapon skill is 2+, ballistic skill is 2+. If you drop below the 7 wounds, 4 to 6, movement is 6, weapon skill is 3+, ballistic skill is 3+. So basically at the start you're on 2+2+, just like all the Custode stuff. So if you can keep this up and keep this running, this can be kind of devastating. 1 to 3 wounds, 4 inches movement, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4. We've got the Achilles Dread Spear, ranged 36 inches, heavy D3. Oh, baby, seems good. Strength 9, AP -3, damage D3. Great, love it. absolutely amazing. Achilles Dread Spear, this is the melee option. So melee strength ×2, AP -3, damage D6, sorry, not D3, D6. Any damage rolls less than 3 that are made for this weapon count as 3. Okay. All right, I'll take that. That seems awesome. Lastrum Stormbolter, 24 inches, sorry. Rapid Fire 2, Strength 5, AP -1, Damage 1. That seems a bit okay. And the Heavy Flamer is 8 inches, Heavy D6, Strength 5, AP -1, Damage 1. This weapon, sorry, I'm bloody so excited. This weapon automatically hits its target, of course. That's what Flamers do. So abilities, it's got Impaling Lunge. In any turn in which this unit has successfully made a charge move, any melee attacks which hit on a 6 cause 1 mortal wound each. Holy Emperor, so you get 1 mortal wound for each 6s. So if you're lucky enough to get a lot of 6s on your attacks, you are causing a lot of damage in addition to their usual damage. Holy Emperor, that is amazing. Atomic Shielding, this model has a 5+ invulnerable save. That's nice. That is very, very nice. Unyielding Ancient, roll a d6 each time this model loses a wound. On a 6, the damage is ignored and the wound is not lost. That is amazing. Everything about this is just amazing already. Atomic Overload, if this model is reduced to 0 rooms, roll a d6 before removing it on the battlefield. On a 6, it explodes and each unit within 2d6 inches suffers d3 mortal wounds. That is just common stuff. Designer's notes, it says further Wargate options and Dreadnoughts will be available with full rules in a future Imperial Armor volume. That seems very, very nice. And the faction keywords we've got is Imperium, Adeptus Custodes, keywords Vehicle, Dreadnought, Contemptor, Achilles, Dreadnought. Okay, that is fantastic. Absolutely loving that already. And if we move on to the next Dreadnought, which is the Contemptor Exemplar Dreadnought. Hopefully I'm pronouncing these bloody names right. You know me and names, chaps. I'm sorry in advance if I get anything wrong. But this Contemptor is basically just a Contemptor Dreadnought, which you can already get, but it gives you a bit more weapons options on it. The stats are just more or less the same. So if you take more wounds, your movement and weapon skill and ballistic skill goes down. So we're just going to skip that. Again, you can probably look at this in full in depth in the link below the video description anyway, if that's something that you want to do. But let's just look at the weapons. So we've got the Dreadnought, the Dreadnought combat weapon, which is melee, strength ×2, AP -3, damage 3. Glorious. The Lastrum Stormbolter, 24 inches, Rapid Fire 2, Strength 5, AP -1, Damage 1. The Heavy Flamer is 8 inches, Heavy D6, Strength 5, AP -1, Damage 1. Of course, this weapon hits automatically. It's a Flamer. Plasma Ejector, Giggity, range 8 inches, Heavy D6. Strength is 6, AP -3, damage is 1. This weapon automatically hits its target as well. And we've got the Twin Las Pulsar, 36 inches, Heavy Heavy 2D3, may I add. Strength 9, AP -3, damage is D3 again. Oh, sounds so good. I can actually get now. Do you know what? I was thinking? I was thinking of maybe getting like the Emperor's Children Contemptor Dreadnought and trying to spice it up, making that a bit more custodious. I know that may seem like heresy to some people, but I really like all the eagles and stuff on that one, so I think I'm actually going to go buy that and convert it to a coolly custody Dreadnought. Right, if we go to the Wargear options, we have a Contemptor Exemplar may choose to take 1 heavy weapon from the following list, replacing 1 Dreadnought combat weapon and 1 Lastrum Stormbolter. So you got the Twin Las Pulsar. 1 or both Lastrum Stormbolters may be exchanged for 1 of the following: Heavy Flamers or Plasma Ejectors. I'm not too sure which I would take on this. Looking at, since I love plasma and I love plasma cannons and stuff, I'd probably take the Plasma Ejector just because of the rule of cool. But maybe the Flame is a bit more stat-wise better than the Plasma Ejector. I'm not too sure. I'll probably have to tinker around with it and see how it works in games and stuff like that. If we move on to the abilities, Atomic Shielding, this model has a 5+ invulnerable save, just like the other one. Unyielding Ancient, roll a d6 each time this model loses a wound. On a 6, the damage is ignored and the wound is not lost, just like the other thing. I love all this. You can get the 6s and just laugh at your enemies. Atomic Overload, and this is just like the other one. If you go down to 0 and you roll a 6 and it blows up, then each unit within 2d6 inches suffers d3 mortal wounds. So the last thing you want is to be rolling a 6 when these things explode, because everyone around it is probably going to die. Faction keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Custodes, and keywords are Vehicle, Dreadnought, Contemptor Exemplar, Dreadnought. Cool, that is amazing. So far, the two Dreadnoughts that have been previewed in these test rules look fantastic. I'm definitely happy with everything so far. And swiftly moving on to the Grav technology, the glorious golden Grav technology. This is where the fun begins. This is what I've been waiting for. I love Grav tanks. I love everything about them. So let's start off with the Sacratus Grav tank first. This is the one that's got the 2 turrets on it, if you remember from the early on in the video. So the movement is based on wounds. So if you've got 8 to 14 wounds, then you're moving at 16 inches. 4 to 7 wounds is 12 inches. 1 to 3 wounds is 8 inches. Weapon skill on this is 6+. Ballistic skill works on the wound basis as well. So if you've got 18 to 14 wounds, your ballistic skill is 2+. 4 to 7 wounds, it is 3+, and 1 to 3 is 4+. Strength is 6, toughness is 7, wounds are 14. Quite a lot of wounds on this. That is very nice. And attacks work on a wound basis as well. So if you've got 18 to 14 wounds, then you've got 3 attacks. 4 to 7 is a D3 dice, and if you've got 1 to 3, which is the lower half, you're only getting 1 attack. Leadership is 9, and the save is +3. Now, this is where the fun really begins. The weapon, Twin Illustrious Excelsior Cannon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Range is 60, heavy 8, strength 8, AP -3, damage is D3. That seems nice. I like that. I very do like that. And the twin Lastrum bolt cannons, which are on the front, which is, I think it's just over or just underneath the driver cockpit, if I remember correctly. Those are 36 inch. They're heavy 6, strength 6, AP -2, and damage for that is 1. If we move on to the abilities, the hover tank, instead of measuring distances to and from the model's base, measure to and from the model's hull or base, whichever is closer. Now, I've experienced this because I have the Astraeus super heavy tank, and I also have the repulsor grav tank for my glorious Primaris Marine, so I am quite experienced when it comes to hover tanks. Like I said before, I just love everything about them. The next ability is Gravitic Backwash. Sorry, I'm stuttering over my words. I'm sorry, I'm just so excited. Models attempting to make melee attacks against this unit suffer -1 to hit rolls to a maximum of 6+. That is cool. I know that's all with the Grav Tech already. Flare shielding. This model has a 6+ invulnerable save. Amazing. Awesome stuff. Enhanced Artemite alloys. Roll a d6 each time this model loses a wound. On a 6, the damage is ignored and that wound is not lost. Wow, this stuff is incredible. It's like the Custodes. They shall not die. It is amazing. Gravitic Cascade. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6 before removing it from the battlefield. On a 5 or 6, it explodes, and each unit within 6 inches suffers d3 mortal wounds. So on a 5 or 6, okay, that is quite scary. Maybe I have to save some command points for that, because me and exploding vehicles always manage to bloody explode my own vehicles and kill everything around it. Faction keywords are Imperium, Adeptus Custodes. Keywords are Vehicle, Calidus, Grav Tank, and Fly. So this does have the Fly rule, just like all the other Grav Tanks in the 8th edition codexes. And we move on to the last Grav Tank, which is the Coronus Grav Carrier. This is something which I've wanted in my army for so long, and now I can finally have something like this in my 8th edition Custodia army. It's got to be incredible. So just like the last tank, this works off wounds and stuff like that. I probably won't go through all that again. The only thing to note from this is this has 18 wounds, which is incredible. So this can take a beating. So I'm very excited about that. The weapons that this has a twin Arcanus Las Blaze. I'm pronouncing that right. Again, I'm sorry. When firing this weapon, select one of the 2 profiles below. So we have B mode, which is beam mode, that is, not B mode, like a buzzing bee. A beam mode, which is firing forward. Range 36 inches, type heavy 2, strength 9, AP -3, damage D6. Okay, that seems pretty nice. Burst mode, which is 24 inches, heavy D6, strength 5, AP -1, damage D3. And we have the twin Lastrum bolt cannons, which again are at the front, just or below, just above or below the cockpit of the driver, which are 36 inches, heavy 6, strength 6, AP -2, damage 1. Now the abilities for this tank, hover tank, instead of measuring the distance, just like before, you measure it from the hull instead of the base. gravitic backwash models attempting to make the melee attacks against this suffer -1 to hit rolls to a maximum of 6, just like the other one. Flare shielding, this model has a 6+ invulnerable save, just like the other Grav tank. These tanks are so good. I just want to buy them all already. Enhanced RMI alloys, roll a d6 each time this model loses a wound. On a 6, the damage is ignored and that wound is not lost. Amazing. This is just so cool. And the gravitic cascade, if it explodes, then you have to roll a dice. Sorry, if you lose all your wounds, you have to roll a dice on a 5 or 6. It explodes, and each unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. Now, this is the thing, the transport. This model can transport 6 Adeptus Custodes infantry models, so that is very, very, very nice. This is going to be definitely in my army. I'm going to be putting those 6 models in there, and I'm just going to be purging away probably 3 Terminators. That'll mean, or 6 actually standard Custodes models. I'm not too sure whether to put like a command squad Terminator in there, but then again, you can deep strike them with the stratagems and stuff like that, so maybe that's not really worth it. I can probably play around with that and see what the best use to carry around and stuff like that. Faction keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Custodes. Keywords are vehicle, transport, fly, and Coronus Grav carrier. All in all, these rules are amazing. I've loved just reading through it now. I'm smiling like a kid in a candy shop at the moment. I'm just waiting to see if we're going to get more. I know. I should be happy from what I've got at the moment, but I want more. I want more glorious golden stuff added to my Custodes army. All right, chaps, that is enough from me. I think I need to go lie down and feel all lightheaded. What a glorious day. I did not expect this at all. So thank you, whoever put this up there on the site. Like I said, link is in the description. Go read it for yourself. It's an amazing little read. Super looking forward to what else is going to be coming, which else can be added to my Custodes army. Now, I'm really, really excited. I'm probably going to go head over to Forgeworld now and just buy every last model which is mentioned in this article, because why not? Why not? I want to add to my glorious golden boys and make them dominate when it comes to playing the foul heretics and foul Xenos. Thank you for watching this video. I hope I've passed on some information. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you all very, very soon. See you, chaps, and bye-bye.